All right, I'm ready to get this meeting started. It is regular council meeting of Monday, June 28th, 2021. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance first.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Leslie.
Mayor Laughlin.
Here.
Councilperson Sexton.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Goodweiler.
Here.
Stulman.
Here. Okay, first up, we have a presentation from a guest speaker. It is Jennifer Walker of Eastern Iowa, East Central Government Intergovernmental Association, ECIA, to talk about the Hometown Pride program. So go ahead, Jennifer, please. Go ahead. Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, hello again. All right, I'm gonna just pull up a PowerPoint that we put together talking about the Hometown Pride program and Keep Iowa Beautiful. I don't know, Redmond has, it looks like Redmond's trying to connect. So can you, the council chamber, tell me if you've gone through this at all, or am I starting from the beginning?
It's what we have on our tablets, I believe. Right? Yes, it is. Okay.
You have the presentation on your tablets?
Yeah, we all have it on our tablets. And we've
Okay, so
roll
I'll
through it.
share my screen for the the sake of those who aren't with tablets. Okay, can everyone see the summary of Hometown Pride activities on their screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So at ECIA, we've been working with Hometown Pride for almost 5 years now. And it's a statewide nonprofit organization. And it's Hometown Pride is a subset or a program of Keep Iowa Beautiful. And the goal of it is to build capacity in communities through coaching assistance. So we help with volunteer recruitment, meeting facilitation, project visioning and planning, and we've been doing a lot of grant applications and fundraising. And just a little history, in 2017, Dubuque, Jones, and Jackson counties applied as a region to participate in the Hometown Pride program and received the award. ECIA, along with Jackson County Economic Alliance, have served as the coaches in these counties. And in 2018, Clinton County came on board as a county, and they hired their own coach that serves Clinton County. This year, Keep Iowa Beautiful approached ECIA, Kelly Detmeyer, and asked if we would consider expanding our region and coach in Cedar and Delaware counties. And that's how this came to be. So I'm just going to very briefly go through some of the projects that we've worked on. And I'm doing this simply to tell you other examples of what could be. It's a very, very loose program that you can build any way you want, wherever it's intended for any kind of beautification or strengthening or economic development program that will make your community stronger and more attractive. So for example, we've worked on tourism brochures. We've helped with nonprofit and government board training sessions. During COVID, we did a lot of DOT, DNR, and EDA workshops via Zoom. Some of the committees have worked on holiday event planning and implementation. They've worked on creating banners honoring veterans and first responders, buy local, shop local campaigns. You can see here an image on your screen of a project we did with the University of Iowa students for public murals throughout the downtowns. We've done downtown planning and building redevelopment. One community needed a pavilion for their farmers market. We've written grants for splash pads We helped create a bike share program and community cleanup events and flower planting. And this is running off my screen here. Trail and park planning has been very large, and fundraising for capital campaigns and grant writing. And these are just some more. If you all have the copy of this, then I'm not going to go through it with you. But again, it's really just for you to be able to generate ideas of things that might be happening in West Branch that maybe you could use some help with, or to harness some volunteer committees and keep them focused and moving forward successfully. And these are examples from throughout Iowa, not just the region we've worked on. But I do want to spend a little time talking about what we do at ECIA, because if West Branch were to decide to sign up for this, it's a multi-year commitment. And so I want you to know, and you'd be working with ECIA, you'd probably be working with me or Marla Quinn or another grant writer on staff, or Dan Fox, who's our planner. And Dan is here in the screen, so you can see him. He is our senior planner, and then Dave Heyer was attending one of the Zoom sessions, but we did trails and planning and funding workshops. I did a session on how to fill out a notice of interest for FEMA. It resulted in us working with Jackson County, and they just are doing a generator grant. They were awarded derecho funds for their emergency operations center. So it's just anything you can think of. It doesn't have to be like your parks committee or, flowers or making some kind of pretty thing. I worked with the Dubuque County Conservation Board and sat on their steering committee for master planning and grant writing. I worked with creating Heritage Trail is our big 26-mile, I guess it's 29 miles now. It's a rail trail that goes all the way from Dubuque to Dyersville. And we're in the process of raising funds to have that paved. We facilitated DNR online REAP training, online trail planning and funding workshop for the land water conservation funding. And we've provided all kinds of grant writing and funding assistance. And I have worked with Dubuque County on a strategic plan for their Board of Supervisors. They had never done one before. So under the Dubuque County umbrella comes all the different cities in Dubuque County that decided to participate. For example, Asbury did park improvement projects. So their volunteer committee was their park board. And we also did community reminder postcards for things like recycling. And, I wasn't a part of that one, so I can't really speak more to it. Here's an example of a trail that Dan did for Asbury. A trail map, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. In Cascade, we helped them by participating in the Heart and Soul process. We did a lot of wayfinding signage, new highway signs. We helped them with a RISE grant, a CAT grant for a new pool, Chamber of Commerce strategic planning. I've been doing a lot of strategic planning lately. And in the city of Dubuque, we've mostly worked with their Trees Forever group. And so I did an urban canopy plan, when the ash borers were dying left and right or coming in and killing all the ash trees, we needed a replacement plan. And so I did a lot of research and writing for that. The other thing that I did was I worked with a nonprofit organization called Miracle League of Dubuque, and I helped them with their capital campaign. They raised $3.5 million to build an all-inclusive baseball diamond and play area, and I wrote a successful CAT grant from the state of Iowa for them. So by Dubuque County and each of the communities participating in Keep Iowa Beautiful, it provided funding and our time at ECIA to be able to help these communities. Here's some images of the Miracle League development in Dubuque. And this park was located at Veterans Memorial, which is one of the city's oldest parks in the heart of the city. And this park has just been completely revitalized and is packed all of the time. It's just a very cool place. In Farley, I wrote a REAP grant for them unsuccessfully. It was very competitive, but then I turned around and helped them with the Wellmark Large Match grant, and they were awarded $100,000. We're waiting to hear on the LWCF grant, and they were invited to apply for a Catalyst application. We helped them with their logo update work, planning for wayfinding signs. Dan is helping them connect from the city and the park to Heritage Trail. And we wrote a successful RISE grant for their industrial park. So this was just some of the park revitalization. So, you know, they still hired an engineer. We're not engineers. So the engineers came up with the plan. We did help them with the community engagement process. And then we figured out how to package different types of funding avenues. And it was almost a $2 million project. It might exceed $2 million by the time they're done dreaming and putting everything in. And this is just one of the phases of it. And it's open and ready to go. Another community here along Highway 20 is Piasta, and it's growing like crazy. But they didn't really have any city parks. So we helped them with planning for a city park. Their park committee had a volunteer cleanup. They did a disc golf. That's misspelled. I put that in there. Future trails within the park, erosion control, and other park improvements. This was all Dan that did this because it was more planning and trails. And you can kind of see how we shake out at ECIA, who does what. And here's the nuts and bolts of the package. So we've been presenting these to all of the different communities that throughout Delaware and Cedar counties to invite them to participate. We have some EDA funding, EDA CARES funding at ECIA, so we're able to offer a subsidy for the first year. So for West Branch's population, it would be $500 for the first year with ECIA matching $500. And then years 2 through 5, it would be $1,000 for each community or for your community. And what you get for that is that you'd have the equivalency of one full-time coach among 10 communities. And right now we have, I think it's 11 communities have already signed up. So you get about 16 hours of staff time per month to help you with hometown pride activities and projects. And then the agreement would be effective July 1st through June 30th of 2026. And then we would provide $80,000 per year, or I'm sorry, Keep Iowa Beautiful Hometown Pride will provide $80,000 per year with at least $20,000 in other committed local and ECIA matching funds for up to 10 communities. So that would be adjusted a little bit if you decided to do that. And one of the great things about it is that included in your membership fee is that we would agree to write one federal or state grant for you annually and one local grant. So like a Wellmark Foundation grant, or you know, if you had a private foundation in the area. And that would happen annually. So if you were to take advantage of that, that would far exceed what the membership costs would be. Does anybody have any questions? I went through that very quickly.
Yeah. So I see this as a coaching assistance and grant writing seems to be the two things that pop out to me, grant writing assistance. Currently, we are a Main Street Iowa program, the town.
Okay,
And I'm a little bit worried about overlap, or that group is a great group of volunteers, and the city supports them monetarily. I mean, I can come up with a list of three items that group would not work on, that this Hometown Pride project could work on. But I just, what am I getting at?
Redundancy.
A little bit of redundancy. I don't want to divert money away from that group.
I completely
$4,500.
understand. That is a decision, yes, that you would need to make. If you feel like that you don't have a need for additional fundraising or grant writing, then maybe it's not the program for West Branch.
Well, I'm not saying that. No, wait a minute.
And I think the pricing is like, I almost want to say, please don't whisper this to our existing counties, because this is, because of the EDA CARES funding, this is coming in at less than these communities that have already been participating are paying. But yeah, I understand that there's some duplicity potentially if you focused on that. If there were other things, for example, we had been talking to Redmond about one of the properties where that you have the potential for development, and if there was a way to, for the city to have that property and be able to apply for CDBG grants or state and federal grants, again, you'd get your money back because we wouldn't charge you to write a Catalyst grant or a CDBG grant or, whatever it is that would be, downtown revitalization. Some of those can cost, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Like a CAT grant, we charge $5,000 to write, and that would be included. So, but you're absolutely right. Those are the big things. The other things that, if you have anything going on with trails, this would be a great opportunity for you to get some of Dan's time to help with that planning.
Okay, that's very intriguing to me, trails. That would be something that the Main Street program wouldn't really be involved with. I've always wanted to do some interstate signage. Seems a pretty simple project, but it's not as simple as
You
it
got the
seems.
DOT rules. Good luck.
No, it's not that bad. But you guys could help with that. I think this program could help. About a break?
Yeah, I mean, those are all things that are in our wheelhouse and that we'd be happy to help with.
Okay.
Is this a, if we were to do this, is this a 5-year commitment then?
It is. It's it's a 5-year contract, and I think the way that Kelly, I haven't looked closely at the contracts, but I'm pretty sure that the way Kelly, that they're constructed is for all 5 years. And we haven't, I'll also tell you that sometimes the first year is spent getting everybody together and getting on the same page and motivated and figuring out what the projects are. And then what we're finding in Dubuque County is when the state coordinator came to us and said, would you take on Cedar and Delaware counties? I said, well, wait, are you just going to stop funding Dubuque County and Jackson and Jones? Because we're cooking with fire now, and there's a lot more projects out there. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. We hadn't really thought about it. We'll just keep, we'll step the funding levels down after 5 years, but we haven't had any of the communities that want out.
Okay. I can come up with 3 projects pretty easily. Trails, splash pad, they can help us with.
I knew you'd see
I
that. I guess the big one I think comes to my mind would be making downtown the last little section that we want to make ADA. cost of commercial lighting.
Finding some money for that.
Finding some
Yeah,
money
good
for
point.
that.
Okay, so, that might justify $4,500 and some time.
So,
I don't know if Redmond was able to connect. It doesn't look like it, but do you have the contract? I don't know if you've seen the contract. I know that Redmond has the contract and a copy, like a sample resolution.
We don't have the contract in front of us. We have the resolution, however.
Okay, all right. So you could pass the resolution and I could have Kelly send you the contract tomorrow,
Right.
if you want, if that's what you'd like to do.
Yes.
So my question, between Delaware and Cedar County, there's 18 communities. And it says one full-time coach for 10 communities.
Mhm.
And you get about 16 hours per month from that one coach. So if all 18 sign up, does that mean that the two communities then get 2 coaches?
Exactly. So where we're at, we'll work the full-time equivalency. You won't go under those hours. That is what you would get. We would need to add more staff. And the way that we've been working is that Marla, Dan, and I, and I don't know if you know Holly McPherson, Dawn Danielson works on brownfields. So how we work it is that you'll have one person that's assigned to you as your coordinator, your coach, but you have all the resources of ECIA. So if you need a planner, you get Dan on that project. If you need somebody who wants, that you want help with fundraising, you're going to get me. And grants could be a couple of us. Or if you have you mentioned wayfinding, that's probably Holly, or anything with economic development is Holly. So we all kind of have our expertise. And even though I might be your coach, what I'm going to do is figure out what your projects are and then find the best person for you at ECIA. We're also in the process of hiring another full-time person and are in the grant writing area. So we're pretty deep.
So do we get one federal grant, one state grant, and one small grant?
You
So we
get
get
2
3
grants.
grants a year?
You get a state or a federal grant.
Two.
She's getting greedy on me now, right? And then one local grant. And so, you're going to want to queue those up depending on what your projects are too. Like the trail grants are usually quite a bit of money, and they're not for some reason, they're not as complicated to write usually. But then if you get into like the land water conservation and the REAP grants, those are really complicated. And the CAT grants are huge. So, if you've got multiple projects on it, you can pick the most expensive grant and say, okay, ECIA, you're writing this one.
We also have the Rails to Trail Railway running right through our town.
I know you do, and it's fabulous. And I think it should go through all of Cedar County, but no one asked me.
It'd be nice. Nikki, do you have any questions?
I think it would be a fabulous collaboration between.
I think we
West
can
Branch
separate the
CDG,
two.
yeah. I think we would just have to make sure that there isn't scope creep, just for the things that we can help with in the downtown district versus what's outside of that area, because there's no sense in using up the grant writing for stuff that we could do for you guys. My only question in listening to the presentation, because it sounds fabulous, Jennifer, is how much of the grants require city match? Because grants all sound really great until you start talking about how the city has to contribute.
Yeah.
And then how much of that is actually feasible.
Which has to be budgeted and
So,
come up with.
But if it's a 5-year commitment and West Branch CDG would love to be part of the steering committee, to kind of craft what that looks like. And I think we could do amazing things together. So it sounds great.
Okay,
Any other questions?
anything else, anybody?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have volunteer committees that are active already? Or would that be something like is there a group that works on Main Street? And are there parks groups or other groups that would be, that are already kind of thinking about and talking about the trails or the wayfinding that we could work with? Or would we be creating new groups?
I had a trail committee 2 or 3 years ago and haven't met since. And the West Branch, the Main Street group is the most, very active, very active. That group they work hard for us. We really don't have a parks group. We don't have any. We have a good park and rec department, which works hard.
There's a dog park group rumbling about forming that might be,
The dog park group.
yeah, that might be helpful.
So maybe that's where some coaching would come in and, help us assemble some groups and identify where we need groups of volunteers.
I have there's a welcome package that comes with Keep Iowa Beautiful, and they have a lot of resources that are right on their website. And one of them is how to put together a good volunteer group. And I think it's really well done. So I've been borrowing it a lot. So, we can help you with that. We can, and what we want to do is we don't want it to be where, we're just working with Redmond, or we're just working with one employee where their time is being so consumed by coordinating with us. So if we can get together a strong volunteer committee, that will help us as we write grants too.
Or
because we'll
buying
have those resources.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions, comments? So we'll be considering this later on in a short while, I hope. I've been
All
told.
right. Well, please don't hesitate to email me or Kelly if you have any questions.
Yeah.
But I will have her, and if you do go ahead and approve the resolution,
Can we do it?
just, I'm not sure what happened there, but just go
Well-
ahead and send that to us tomorrow. And I'll get the contract to you, or Kelly will.
Okay, thank you very much. Really
Good
appreciate
night. Thank you for having me with your meeting. Bye-bye.
it. All right, that's good information. We're going to move on to the public comment section. Anyone wishing to address the council can do so now, whether on Zoom or live. Anyone here who wants to address the council? Hearing none. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, which is, it's all correct now, right, Leslie? Yeah. A motion to approve the minutes of the last council meeting of June 7th. Motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting and closed session meeting of June 21st. A motion to approve the West Branch Fire Department Class B beer permit with outdoor service for Hoover's Hometown Days. And a special events permit for the 2021 Hoover's Hometown Days celebration. Street closures for the 21 Hometown Days celebration, and the claims. Give me a motion, someone,
So moved.
and a second by someone.
Second.
Jerry. Any comment?
Yes, some questions.
Go ahead, Cole.
Miller Trucking and Excavating, storm sewer repair at the National Park. Was that on the interior of the park, or was it like along the road, or?
Matt Goodale can tell you. I can't tell you exactly.
It was right over here. We had an old collapsed storm sewer.
It was in a couple locations along the north side of the park. it's our storm sewer that goes through there, but it's on their property.
Good.
So while they were fixing their section of those pipes, we had them fix our sections at the same time.
Okay.
They were lining them, so it was kind of one of those go the full length or don't do it at all. And the Park Service was doing it, so
I just was wanting to make sure we weren't fixing their storm sewer. For them.
no,
They don't pay us any taxes. So.
nope.
All right, thanks, Matt.
And then Shields Technology Corporation. What is that?
That is something for the police department.
Okay, never mind then. You don't say anymore.
It's part of their software.
Yeah. And then the other question I had was the copier lease.
I was gonna ask about.
Says
that.
it's
Go ahead.
Library.
Library.
Did they borrow money from US Bank to pay for it?
Well, they're leasing it from US Bank.
They lease it from US Bank.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a monthly fee?
Yes.
$106?
I can provide a little information. We contract with Cedar Rapids Photocopy, and they choose the leaser who for this one happens, or the people who provide it, and they are currently using, or when we did it, we're using US Bank for their lease. So that's why it's through US Bank.
That's all I got for that.
Normal Hoover Hometown Days things. Any other comments? Hearing none, let's vote. Leslie?
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
All right, public hearing agenda. Third reading of ordinance 781. Amending chapter 165 entitled zoning regulations to add a section 51 concerning annexed territory. Third reading, give me a motion, someone.
Hey, hold on a second. The application that we got for the street closure is blank.
Mine wasn't.
I think I saw mine.
Mine's blank.
It's not like to me.
Well, if you're reading it through a web page, it takes a while for it to download and catch up.
Okay. Well, wait.
Good going.
Where am I at? Ordinance 781. I need a motion, please. Jerry and Jody. All right, third reading. This formalizes some sort of annexation policy. Any comment? Go ahead.
Councilperson Sexton,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Number 2, Resolution 216, approving participation in a Hometown Pride program, Keep Iowa Beautiful, via ECIA. Motion, someone, please.
So moved.
Jody will second. I think this is a decent investment.
We get one grant.
We get 10
5 years,
grants.
it's paid for.
10 grants written, 2 per year for 5 years. It might pay off. You just gotta,
Corvo, we just got a 25,000 from the Wellmark Foundation, so even one like that would pay the whole thing off.
So I got a couple things. I'm for it only because we pay other, like Sedco. At the end of the day, to the life of me, I still don't understand what it is Sedco does to benefit West Branch. I just don't. We pay them
$6,500.
we pay them $6,500 a year. And the mindset's always been, we don't know what they do, but we don't want them out there working against us. So we'll just give them their $6,500 to make sure that they don't spoil anything that could happen for us.
Fulton, I'm not sticking up for them, but they were the ones that brought Sour Sunstrand to town and then found Axiona.
It was, I thought that was the Iowa City group.
I-
No, you're right, it was, it was,
I
It
can't
was
got
ICANN.
P&G.
the leader there went to Iowa City.
I was gonna say the P&G one, the Sours, that's been a disaster. The whole thing's been a disaster.
We're still getting tax money on
Yes and no.
Okay, we're not gonna debate Sedco. Anything else?
I guess the only thing that concerns me is that the majority, like Nikki said, the majority of these grants that you're gonna get are matching. And at the end of the day, we don't even have a capital improvements plan. You know, we have no roadmap in what direction we're going. So to enlist something to help us go in a direction that we don't even know what direction we're gonna go in yet.
With that roadmap.
I could focus entirely on trails with this program.
You can,
Maybe we could pave what's chip and seal now. We could come up with some sidewalks to identify, to widen and become a trail. That should all be very simple. Just need to get some money.
Until you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I know.
I think it's, some of those are like 10 or 20% matches in the trail grants. If I remember my grants correctly. There's a lot of them out there, but
I guess we should ask them, is there a deadline for us to
use the grant.
to commit to this program? I mean, is there a timeline or?
Yeah, good question. We missed that.
the other thing that concerns me,
Because
They
they-
want to have it,
By July 1?
yeah, they did.
the other thing
Yeah.
that concerns me is
Because
do people understand how city government works? Because I don't understand. They always come right about the time the new budget takes effect and they say, we want money. Well, we were planning this 4 months ago. That would have been the time to come ask for money. You know, at the end of the day, this is $500. We should be able to find $500. But
But this is a $4,500 commitment tonight. If we go with it. Correct?
But that gives us a whole year to find another $1,000. I mean, you know. It just baffles me every year, every single year.
We do have the money from the hotel tax that we can use for economic development if you want to use that.
Okay, now we'll be remarking a lot of that to the
10,000
Main
of it,
Street
I
program.
was gonna say,
10,000 of it went to the Main Street program. But
Which should continue to go to Main Street.
yeah, I'm not
more and
saying
more.
that should change, but
More and more.
you have $18,000
Another
to
$7,000,
$20,000 a year
Good.
coming in for that.
How much more?
7,000 to 8,000.
You,
Okay.
8 to 12,000 or 20.
How's Setco getting paid?
We budget that. It comes out of general fund.
I have a question. What would happen if we wait a year? And
On
not,
this?
yeah.
that was my question.
I mean, if we plan, right, what we want to do and then wait a year to become a member.
I don't know if it's gonna be available in a year from now.
They said this was kind of a special deal.
That was my
Yeah.
question too, is if we didn't sign up for it now. could we
I
do
think
it
it's
next year?
now or never. I hate to say that.
Well, it sounded like the first year
That's
was
what
pretty
I
much
thought.
just getting acquainted with the city and not really helping us out too much. It was just second through the
I
fifth.
bet we could come up with a grant in the next 6 months that they could write for us right away.
The next year.
I support it. I still support it.
It would be well worth even
It's
just
$1,000 a year.
Maybe well worth $1,000 even if the first year spent building up the stuff we need for them to even do stuff. So like she said, you look at all these examples, they're like, we work with this committee, we work with this committee, work with this committee. How many committees does West Branch have?
Not a lot.
Not a
We
lot.
really don't have a lot.
Half a committee? Maybe? You had a Trails Committee 3 years ago?
I think we met twice.
I mean, if we go by right now, how many committees can you guys count?
There's a watershed one too that
The stream
Just
team,
takes-
yeah.
So even if we spend, I think even if we spend $1,000 the first year, all she did was help us create those, come up with
I would
stuff.
enjoy that.
Even if we got, I mean, even if we get a grant, a couple grant writing out of it too, and then she helps us create committees we could use as a city, I think it would be worth the money even in that.
It sounds like they're pretty diverse in their employment of all the different things that we could possibly use in different ways, so.
I actually work for the one that does Johnson ECOG, doing stuff they would have me look at. So, no, the one in Cedar Rapids.
Okay, easy call.
Yeah. So they hire people from outside if they need
Iowa
that
City's a
expertise. Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? I'm ready to take a vote. All right, Leslie, let's vote, please.
Councilperson Dean,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
Okay, so Redmond, get a hold of her tomorrow and get that contract. All right, moving on. Resolution 2017, accepting public improvements constructed at Cedars Edge First Edition. Still not exactly sure where this is.
And I went back to the plats. The first plat is called Cedars Edge. The second plat is called Cedars Edge First Edition. So it's not like, I was thinking it would be called second, but it's Cedars Edge and then Cedars Edge First Edition. I checked the plats on the recorder site to make sure I was doing it correctly when I wrote the resolution. So basically this accepts everything. There's some sidewalks and stuff that need to be put in. And then we'll come back at a later date when we figure out the legal description for that right of way and do a separate one for that transfer and everything.
Okay, so once again, is this the cul-de-sac, Serenity Circle,
Yes,
Serenity Lane?
yes.
Okay.
The rest of it,
And the
So
only
it's just
side,
the two sidewalks. There's a sidewalk connecting from lot 11 to lot 10,
Mhm.
and then probably
The other
sidewalk
side
from
of
the
the street.
mailbox to lot 1.
Yeah, so I mean, we've released some of the sidewalks that we've gone along, so already for lots that have been sold. It's just, and if the lot's not sold, they still have time to put it in. So that's why the
And just
rest,
to clarify, our ordinance is 3 years after the development.
it's
approved,
through
the sidewalks have
off
to
the
be in.
plat, yes.
Okay.
Or 70, yeah, I think it's 3 years. So
Some of the subdivision agreements, some have said 5 and some say 3. I'd have to verify which one you were
I
saying.
think I put 3 in his. That's usually with standard I put in.
Well, because I've had a few people ask me about sidewalks.
At some point, I think was it Ort Street where we had some that were left and we had to tell them they were past the time. So we don't want to leave gaps for, developments that are almost done. So that's why the provision's in there. So if there's a couple lots left, that there's not a gap for waiting for a house. So
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify if it was 3 or 5.
I guess our engineers have approved everything.
Yep.
Sounds like.
Mhm.
Good. Except for the couple sidewalk sections.
In the road.
the road will come back at a different meeting
Connecting the
when we
road.
get the legal description for that actual parcel.
So we're waiting on that.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
No, but while we're talking about Cedars Edge Edition,
Oh, yeah.
I have had property owner wanted to abandon the Birdie's Drive,
The one way at the far
which
north.
is at the far north that would connect back to Cedar Johnson Road,
Yeah.
just a little section there. So been asked to present it to the council and get their opinion on abandoning that little chunk of road. I do have, initially, I think we put it in there so that there'd be a street out from that street. I still have the parking lot that fire trucks and stuff can get down through, get back to Cedar Johnson Road, so that would stay.
So the loop would stay.
Loop,
The
yeah,
loop.
the access, yeah, there's an access out of there, so that would stay.
I think I'll just maybe just talk to Dave quick and have him take a
Yeah,
quick
we'll have to
look
bring
at
that
it.
up. That'll have to come another time. But does it have to go to zoning first?
You have to vacate the street, so it has 3 readings in an ordinance eventually. But it's not-
Vacated street that hasn't even been built or accepted.
well, but it's been platted and it's been dedicated, so it is in our name.
Okay. All right, well, that's a separate subject
Yeah.
than this,
But-
so. We'll keep on it, bring it up
Yeah.
another time.
Okay.
You
The
warmed us
reason
up
I'm
to it.
asking is the property owner next to that street is designing their house and they're trying to determine the side set. Their house needs to be a little bigger. I don't know why, because it's a pretty good size lot.
So
But that's why they're,
need to keep moving on that then.
yeah.
Just a clarification, so Birdie, which is the one that was gonna go to the cart shed, and that was the purpose of it, was having that little street to go to the cart shed, so people didn't have to.
No,
It was just.
This is not the one that goes to Cedar's Edge?
it's the
It goes
one,
to the
From
cart shed,
Lazy,
yes.
from Lazy Brook to Cedar's Edge, right? That's the little section you're talking about?
it didn't go to, it went from Lazy Brook down to Cedar Johnson Road.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, I said
Like,
Cedar
yeah,
Edge.
it's like-
I meant Cedar Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in the, when in the plat, it was that it didn't need to be constructed until
Until-
Cedar Johnson
Right.
got done,
That's right.
so.
Yeah, so in the last resolution, when we accepted the improvements for Cedar's Edge, that was accepted because that wasn't required to be done yet anyways.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that, but that's the section you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like a
Okay.
lot, it's a length of the lot, that's
Right,
it.
like 120
Yeah.
or 30 feet wide.
And that's not gonna cause a problem with people going to the cart shed.
No.
Okay.
No, that's all separate. Right now, we go off the end of the street onto, so the street ends at Cedar's Edge property, and then there's a virtually private drive down to the cart sheds.
Okay, so you still have access, or separate access?
Yeah.
I'm curious though, Jerry, there was a reason that street was put in there. They don't, when they designed, you didn't just say, hey, put a street in here, I want one in there. There was a
Well,
reason somebody put it in there.
It
Why?
was I that wanted it in there, yes.
Why?
Initially, it was to keep traffic from coming, because initially I was gonna eliminate my temporary driveway that went to the cart shed, so that all the traffic came to my cart shed, only went down and went to the cart shed, and I didn't have traffic driving through my parking down there.
Yeah.
We don't get that much traffic. People that come down there now, if they're just sightseeing, they come down, turn around, go back out. So if they know there's an access there, they just drive on down through and around.
That's all, I just wanted to know the answer.
Yeah, it was me. It wasn't the developers or the engineers, because it actually took a lot. It ended up eliminating one lot there, which would have cost me a street without a lot. Yeah, that was
Okay,
me.
back to the task at hand. We got a motion and acceptance to approve accepting.
No,
We did not get a motion, you went right to discussion.
didn't?
Nope, I need a motion.
Motion.
Nick, second? Anybody?
Sure.
Jody, Jerry probably has to abstain from this vote. So, we ready to vote? I am. Okay.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Stulman?
yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Sexton?
Abstain.
Dean?
Yes.
All right, police vehicle, resolution 218, approving the purchase of a police SUV from West Branch Ford.
So moved.
Second.
Tom? 40 minutes is up, sorry about that. Okay, Corey's got a plan. He's following the plan. For replacement, vehicle replacement. He should be here.
Now, this is actually gonna be for next year's budget, right?
Correct.
It was budgeted for a new car for next year. Just get the early jump on it, because they're afraid somebody's gonna take their money away from them, so they.
No,
Also, we're looking at a long lead time once it's ordered anyways.
All right, okay.
Well, if you guys haven't noticed, there's a new vehicle down in the Ford dealer.
Still gonna be a Ford dealer though.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Corey. Anything else, anyone?
What are we getting? No?
Ford Interceptor utility.
So
Explore.
Explorer.
Yep.
So this price is just the vehicle, not all
Just the
the-
vehicle.
Yeah,
It's usually around
all the
50.
extras, I
That's
say.
It's
Costs
later.
about that again.
I was
It's
gonna say cost
another-
about that again, doesn't it? All right. I just wanted to make sure it was, because I was like, wow, that's pretty cheap this round.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's just the base.
It's only
vehicle.
half.
Yeah.
But this is a police edition, right, Corey?
Yeah, that's correct. It is a pursuit rated interceptor.
Wow.
Is this on state bid?
Good job, Jason. That's all right.
No, we don't. We don't typically buy the state bid. We try to give our local dealerships the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Corey. Any other discussion, comments? Let's go ahead.
Councilperson Miller,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Stulman.
Yep.
Okay, item 5, consider this is a discussion item, a home-based Iowa community program that establishes a rebate program for veterans. Pretty much mirrors what is no longer in effect for the home. This would be for veterans. Go ahead, Tom, if you want to.
Well, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Cedar County came to us 4 or 6 weeks ago with ideas on enticing veterans into Cedar County. They asked us to participate. This is my idea. To be a 5-year home buyer rebate program similar to what we have now that's going out of, that will no longer be available.
Is there any, I don't know anything about veterans. Are there different grades of veterans that, this isn't coming out right.
So is there
No, just discharged veterans or veterans that are currently in the National Guard or Army Reserves.
So is there a piece of paper that they can bring us and say, I'm a
DD 214.
Okay.
Government form DD 214.
All right.
I was gonna ask that same question. It's like, how am I going
So
to
then
know?
they bring that and
Yeah.
that's it. That's all we need.
And I was reading today in some information about veterans preference, and it was talking about different ones. Now, if someone was dishonorably discharged,
No.
did that qualify?
Get
Okay.
them out of here.
And if
We
they
don't
got a
want 'em.
Purple Heart, that automatically would qualify them. But one thing that what your write-up said, what it didn't say was that with the current building incentive program, it's a 5 years or $5,000 max. So I do think that we should have a max
Yeah.
included in that. So if we mirror that, that's, I said, I just want to make sure, how am I going to know who they are? Well, I guess if they're employed, they're going to know about the program. So they're going to come to me, because otherwise I'm not going to necessarily just know to let them know about the program.
This isn't a building permit thing either. This
No.
would be an existing home.
It could be either or. It could be that they're coming here and building a new home, or it could be that they're buying my house.
Somebody else's almost knew that.
So, okay, just to clarify, so we can maybe write something up
Would
that
we
would be.
put like a 5-year time frame on the program, not on the, did you just say that?
It's 5 years or
$5,000.
$5,000 is what the building.
No,
incentive
but-
program is.
Timeline for the program to actually
Yeah,
happen.
this
So
would,
5 years, or is it gonna be a 10-year?
we need to renew it again in 5 years, the whole program, or not.
You can see if anybody's even using it or not.
I think it should be
5 years.
5 years. We'll remember that in 5 years.
The city might go
So
broke.
5,
There might be so many veterans.
I say
that
2 years.
We never get any taxes.
I say 2 years because you can't say 5 years. You can't, theoretically, you can't hold another council to your policy.
All right, 2 years.
It can be renewed after the next council.
Let's do 2 years to start with, and then I guess that makes sense.
Because then you would hate to say 5 years and then, next election, there's 3 new people that think it's a stupid idea and then you renege on veterans.
Not exactly.
Like,
Not exactly. a
like
popular-
they
That might
never
not
let
be a
go
popular
enough,
position, but-
Okay, so it seems like we got positive support for the program. I guess we need to get a resolution. Get the details figured out in a resolution. Okay. What else have we got? That's it on the agenda. City Administrator. Redmond, what do you got?
Don't even go there.
So just wanted to kind of talk a bit about our recent tour of UV sites, UV being ultraviolet disinfecting, part of the our wastewater treatment process. So I gave a real quick rudimentary example of what that exactly is. It's essentially, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. You could treat it with chlorine, like you do a swimming pool. Those typically have some side effects, either the chlorine being discharged into your waterways. UV is thought of as being more environmentally friendly and handles a lot of flow and less maintenance. And that's essentially putting lamps in the water. The ultraviolet kills the different types of bacteria and all those nasty things that make people sick. So, but there's a number of different ways to do that. And so we looked at 4 places, to West Liberty, New London, Norway, and Mount Vernon. Went to those sites, looked at them. We took our frontline staff that's going to be, responsible for the day-to-day maintenance of those systems and figure out which one they like, as well as which one made sense monetarily, as well as what we're going to be doing as far as what our capacity needs are going to be. So we all came together on one system that we liked and informed V&K to kind of move forward with that. And that was the New London system. We liked the fact that it was very light on maintenance, and also it didn't hurt the pocketbook. So there were some others that were light on maintenance as well, but it was like very expensive, particularly the West Liberty system. This was just as light in maintenance, but half the cost. So we really liked that one. There were some others that were good, but they were very intensive on maintenance and cleaning the bulbs and all those kind of things. So we're real confident on that. I got some videos and pictures that we can put online so that citizens can follow the process as this goes on, since they're going to ultimately be faced with paying for the price tag on it. It should kind of take them along the journey of seeing what's gone into pulling together this thing. So so that was that. And then just a real quick update on Parkside.
Hold on, I got a question on that.
Yes, sir.
So the New London system, did we discuss, does anybody know how easy it would be to expand on that existing system? So say just add a couple more bulbs and lights in it if you need to make it bigger, or you got to start over from scratch?
So they have these modules. There is modules, and essentially the water is flowing through a channel, and you can sit the modules on top of the channel. And so each module is roughly around 250 pounds, and they have a series of bulbs in them. What kind of made this nice, in opposed to some of the other systems, you had to pull out kind of the whole module and then put it on a rack and then take the bulbs out. Where here, you can leave the module in place and just pull out the individual bulb, which made it real easy. So that's where, when I say it was a 2-man or 2-operator system, you had to have, 2 people, one on each side, pull these things out. With just the bulb being able to be removed, literally the guy did it right in front of this one guy, pulls it out, and then you can clean and all that kind of stuff. So, and the other good thing with that particular module, they had these kind of hydraulic wiper kind of things that go up and down, slide up and down the lamps. So that cleans it, but you still have to bring it out every so often. But since that goes up and cleans it, it cuts down on the manual hours that it takes to clean these bugs. It also helps the bugs last a little longer as well. So it just made a lot of sense all the way around. And we did like the West Liberty when we first saw it, but then when we saw this, it made so much sense and it was half the cost.
So again, to expand it then, how do you go about doing that?
You just put another module. Yeah. So.
Hi, Matt, go ahead.
Hey, so the way our wastewater plant will be set up is they'll base it off a 1 million gallon a day flow is how they build it. And they'll do the same thing with the UV. The UV will be built to handle a certain MGD. They're somewhere between 4 and 6 MGD. And they'll size those to match that. So it's hard to add to them, but it'll be basically built out the same way the lagoon and the Saggers are, to where they're sized for the growth that we're supposed to get, and we shouldn't have to add on to them. If we have to add on to them, we'd likely be adding on to every other process of it too.
Well, that's fine, but the thing about the Sagar was if we had to add on, we could just put another cell in. So my question was is it going to be that easy on the back end too? We just put
It can be added on separately. It's just, I don't think it would be needed. The way it's going to be sized, it likely will cover from the lowest flow to what we would max out at, even if we had to upsize.
So what Matt's talking about is the channel that water is coming through. It's concrete. So you're going to build the channel in such a way that it's going to be giving you all the capacity you need. And then once you have that channel, then the little module that you sit on top of is just another little module. You sit down on that channel. Yeah. It's hard to go back and put more channel after because it's concrete, but if you build it to a certain capacity, the modules itself are small. So I'll have some pictures of that too, so it'll be easier to see.
All right. Anything else? Reg?
Just on Parkside, the stormwater project is moving along, supposed to be wrapped up this week. Just in case there were any neighbors that were wondering what was going on. He has built a berm. It's on his side of the property. It's only there temporarily during the construction. And the easement itself, he purchased the Beautiful Land Products land. So he's using his own land there, and that's supposed to be wrapped up this week.
Yeah, that's great. I spent most of the day appeasing Shirley Gent, a landowner that he's crossing her property. They're not happy. They weren't notified. It's not I don't think that was our fault, but it's probably the developer's, contractor's fault. She was pretty upset that they dug up behind her building. I think it's all okay now. So that's all I need to say.
I think he's going to leave it or do it back the way he found it, like he's going to reseed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I assured them we would make sure that happens.
Why are they digging up stuff that's not there?
Pardon?
I'll dig up some stuff that is theirs. There's a water leak coming from that property that everybody just says he'll take care of it. It's tearing our street up. It's causing our city workers to do work. We don't want to go do it, which we should. We should just go over there and take care of it and figure out where the water's coming from. But we're going to wait for this guy to do it. And he's got all the equipment there. Why ain't he digging up that tile and fixing it? How long do we got to wait for it to just go away? And what if it doesn't go away?
I don't think it will go away completely. Go ahead, Matt.
With the berm and the digging that they've been doing, we didn't have that water coming through there like we normally would. on these last rains. And I know it was dry before that, so that, I mean, it could just be that there wasn't enough water in the ground, but at this point, I feel like it's actually doing something what he's already done. And at this point, all he's done is the beginning phases of it.
Well, Matt, I was down there 2 weeks ago to check it out when it hadn't rained for like 2 weeks and the water was still running out of there like somebody left a hydrant on.
Yeah, it just there's some water, but it isn't like what day is it? Monday. When it was raining last week, it wasn't like it normally is. So there must be something he's doing up there that's helping with that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess unless we have him dig up that tile and make sure it's carrying water all the way to the other end, that'd be the only way.
That's not in the plan to do that though, is it?
I don't think so. I think it's just all that water is supposed to be redirected from the west, the southwest corner there, which should take nearly all that water from us. The only thing that should be left is the water that comes from the Cookson subdivision, which has a retention basin, and then whatever comes down the backside of those yards to the south of the shop. I believe there's 9 or 10 lots there that'll shed water into that area still.
So what he's done there, Matt, he's not actually taken a hoe of any sort and dug a line trying to find tile.
No, he's just took I think they just took a bulldozer and came along and cut a groove and then pushed up a big mound. And now they're at the east end, cutting the retention basin in and building up the sides.
Seems to me if they don't find the tile, the problem's still gonna be there. Eventually it'll come out.
No, that's entirely possible.
Seems to me it'd be real simple, even if the city has to pay for him to go in there with a hoe, dig along that fence for 20 feet and find that tile and make sure it's getting directed in a fashion that it needs to go.
Because if he hides it long enough that we sign off and it becomes city streets and city infrastructure, then it becomes our problem then.
Well, tiles don't stop running if they have water running.
Ever. They never stop running.
You gotta direct them somewhere. You plug them, they'll just boil out somewhere else.
So what's the big hole right there by the gas tanks by the street? It's full of water. I mean, it's huge. Probably what, 3 foot around?
Talking up on
Yeah.
down low.
That's just the ditch that I believe Brian Brennan dug that. It's the area that Dave Peden came in and talked about. It's where the water runs from the Cookson subdivision and from the interstate up there. That's what's supposed to be getting redirected to the east with the work that they're doing there. So most of that is overland flow, and then there's that tile that runs under there. But that's why
I'm kind of hearing we need to get that tile fixed from you guys. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
The tile needs to be
It's
fixed.
It's not the first time we've talked about
I know.
that. so-
But isn't that part of what we were
His
supposed to
project?
do?
No, it
I'm
was,
not sure it is.
it wasn't
For the
something he
Peden
was gonna
thing?
do. It was something we hoped that he would do in his development that would
Yeah.
possibly solve the problem,
Oh.
which you don't find the tile, you don't solve the problem.
Okay.
I can talk to Dave and I can talk to Chad about it and just see if they can dig it up. We could have them dig it up right there behind the shop where it's between their property and our property. Maxwell's down there working. They're going to be there for a few weeks and they're working on storm sewer right now. So
That
it
pile
wouldn't be,
is in the way, though? All right, thanks, Matt.
yeah.
Go ahead and do that. Okay, what else?
That's all right.
That's all you got, right, Ryan? Kevin? Anything else from staff? Melissa or Corey?
Yeah, I've got just one thing to bring the council kind of up to date on. We found kind of an error in the budget, so the part-time hours that we should have had didn't get plugged in there. So we have going to be coming to you in the near future with an amendment to work in some hours for part-time officers.
Oh, there went your truck.
That's why he ordered it.
How much are we looking at? Corey? How much money?
Well, right now we have zero. We haven't penciled it in yet, but for sure I'm going to have people for hometown days. So we can be conservative for sure, so we're not gonna, and then we'll just have to make sure we've got it in there for next year.
Okay. That has to be done by next year.
No, it doesn't have to be done until
For
we
hometown day.
approach going over budget for the police department. So sometime probably after the first of the calendar year. It should be done. We've got plenty of money to get through.
Okay.
It was my error.
Oh, darn it.
Is that the overtime thing?
Yeah.
Part-time stuff or
Yeah.
whatever?
Okay, thank you, Corey. Comments from council. I have something, the Casey's lot, the old Casey's lot. There might be a desire for someone to purchase that. Hosier's. I guess I'm not opposed to it. We still need to have a sidewalk. And if they want to pave it, they can pave it. Depending on the price that we sell it to them. It's expensive to pave. So we can't have a gravel lot. I don't know, we can't leave it the way it is, can we? If it's privately owned, it has to be paved. So I support it. I guess the mural, which we had planned to go there, could still go there. They would agree to let the mural be put on that property. And it takes up about 18 inches or less. Or we find another place for the mural.
Initially, when I talked to him, I seemed to think this would probably be all right. There's a couple of concerns I would have would be, and he brought up to me that he would want it till 5 o'clock and then it could be city parking. It'd be fine if he doesn't have the whole parking filled up with cars.
After hours.
Yeah, after hours. So, I don't know. I think there might be a controversy there of the city using it as him owning it as a private property. I don't know. I think there might be a.
Well, the way I looked at it was, we were gonna turn it into a green space. So wasn't nobody gonna park there anyway if we did what we were gonna do. So if he makes a parking lot out of it, if we get to use it, great. If we don't, we're still not out nothing because we weren't gonna get to use that parking if we kept it.
Yeah, we also have to think that he is in the automotive repair business and he's gonna move.
That was one of my,
The stuff that's in front of his building is gonna end up over in that parking lot on our main street.
We can draft something to.
We draft an agreement, no.
Yeah, he's already got,
parking of
he can't sell pizza out of it.
tire trailers and trailers full of tires and stuff like that.
That would be my concern, you know.
No pizza sales.
All right, well,
But, I mean,
we could work out.
be nice to.
But truthfully, it's something we need to come up with a plan because we had our city crews was there ready to start doing the work.
That's right.
And they got stopped.
Yeah.
Over the deal, so.
And when I talked to Davey, he was, I'll put the parking in there, I'll put the sidewalks in.
And the sale price is probably-
Depending on the sale price, yes. So, I mean, it could be a really cheap lot for him.
My
But
idea
it could be
was
expensive in the end.
we go ahead and do the sidewalk and whatever that costs us, that's the sale price. then we get the part done we needed to get done.
Or you draft it so that he has to have it in a certain amount of time. He has to do it.
Except then you're still gonna have to come up with a sale price because they don't like giving stuff away.
It could be.
Could be $1.
It could be $1.
Since we paid so much.
Sidewalk.
I mean, our price to pave that was gonna be, what, $18,000 or something like that. So, I mean, he's looking at, that was half.
And he'd have to read the code if he's gonna put his own mark.
Sample well there.
There may be still a monitoring well, but there's an easement for that,
So,
which you get pulled out once they've met their.
I was just curious where they put that.
There's a map there. We can get that out.
so would he be charged, storm water, extra for storm water because it's all paved?
I think so.
You charge a stormwater utility fee on the lot because it's whatever that monthly. Yeah.
Now, one thing that when we talked about this a few weeks ago, I mentioned it to Terry Gert, and he said that in the code, and he can do some more research, that we couldn't even put a parking lot there unless it was changed to public use. And only the people who can have public use are cities, governments, and schools. That you can't use a parking lot as a primary purpose for the property. So has something changed, or was more
Well, but
discussion?
it would be
about
an
that?
accessory use to his property then.
But he said it's across the street. He
Not
goes, if it was
adjacent
attached.
Yeah.
If it was attached, he could do it, but since it's across the street, it makes
I'll
it
look
his
at-
own separate.
That's a dumb rule. It's a dumb rule.
So like
I'm
in
just- I'm
Coralville,
just-
you can get a conditional use permit to have off-site parking. And there's just, you have to go through the board of adjustment to do that. I'll look at the.
Special use.
Yeah, there's some, I'll look and see the code, or if not, I think you should have something that,
Because when I mentioned to him that we were gonna do a parking lot, he's like, you can't even do it.
well, that's, I mean,
Saw that.
Well, yes, you said we could,
if you change it to
if we were
public.
cities,
Well, if we're a city.
so we
But-
could.
Well, but it's currently zoned, it's not
Well, we
zoned for that
zone
right
it.
now. We have to rezone
It'd
it.
be a P, a public use.
Turn it into a parking lot and sell it.
Parking lot zone. Okay, so that issue may be out there. I'm not hearing any strong opposition to it. The second thing I have is I talked to each of you guys today about personnel matter. We may think about a special meeting on Thursday of this week to discuss a personnel matter. Or I just want to get you guys warmed up to it. That's all I have to say about that.
So you want a consensus?
I'm not available.
You're not? Okay. We have 4 of us, plus me. I think that's probably okay.
A long time. I'm not available in the
I'd do
evening.
early afternoon. 4 or 5. 5.
I'm not sure.
What
if
works
anybody
for you, Nick? Instead of us just throwing numbers out there.
else- I'd have to be done by 6:30.
So 5,
5 o'clock. Just pencil it in. So that's all. I'm just bringing it up. Okay, that's all I have. Anything else, anybody?
I have something for Matt. Can you get that stop sign fixed out there?
No, I can do it in the morning.
you said no.
No.
I'm fine with it the way it is. It hasn't been one there for 50 years.
You said no.
I hate that.
I think at this time, you can just plant a permanent post there. You might have to get, I don't know if you'll have to get one call to plant it, but
Yeah, we can put locates in. We had just left it because we thought that road was going to go in, but yeah, since it might be 20 years, we'll put it up. Or 5, could be 5 years.
Are we putting signage so that it's going to be a 4-way stop.
It's a three-way, but it's.
Cedar
the
Johnson,
I thought we were making a 4-way.
No, we were just putting signage that alerted people that it is a three-way stop.
Where you get
And traffic, oncoming traffic does not stop.
Oh, that's what we decided? We didn't say, we're making a 4-way.
And I'm assuming those signs are coming fairly soon.
We just got them in today, I believe. I didn't open the box, so I can't say for sure, but I think they came in today.
okay,
You got any radar sign?
to the south,
Yeah.
north end of town. Yeah, it looks good.
It's nice.
Caught you speeding yet?
72.
Did it slow you down?
They slow me down.
I
Yeah,
know,
they
they
slow
do.
me down.
it's only because you want to get down and see if you can actually get to that number.
I'm just speeding on my bicycle coming down. So.
That's where you ran in and slam with nothing, you high.
Okay, anybody, anything else? Otherwise, I need a motion to adjourn.
I have a couple things. Matt, did we, get anything discussed with the homeowners on the alley? Fourth, between Fourth and Fifth?
Yeah, I met with them. What they wanted to do was just do the tree sap at this point and see if that would hold it. I did talk to them about, they brought up seal coat, paving, concrete, all those things. They actually, I don't want to say that they said they're okay with paying for it, but they were asking me numbers. And when they heard numbers, then they started saying, oh, well, there's 11 of us. So when they start figuring it up, I don't think they were as shocked by the numbers of what it would actually cost if they all paid into paving or doing seal coat or something. So what they wanted to do was we'll grade it, put the tree sap down and try that and see what it does for the rest of the summer.
Matt, seal coat is not going to cure your problem. It's going to make it worse.
I know. I don't think it will either. There's a couple spots up there that look like they had asphalt on them, and I don't know if somebody just patched them in or what it was, but those have held up decent. I think they didn't want to all of a sudden throw out a bunch of money and say, yeah, let's all go together and pave it. They wanted to do like an incremental type, do the easiest, cheapest one to begin with, and then if that doesn't work, go from there.
Okay, but if you pave it, where's all that water gonna go?
Oh yeah,
It's not gonna
if you
go-
pave it.
It's gonna go straight across to Burlow's and Barnhart's.
Yeah, it'd come down. I mean, it'd definitely come down to the road. So
Oh, shoot, right
Speed
across
is
there.
coming down.
What it does now.
Huh?
Same as it does now.
No, the gravel actually stops it.
Just deposit the gravel in the road.
The gravel washes down and stops it and keeps it on that
Oh,
side.
all right, I see what you're saying.
Where this is gonna go straight across and down Burlow's driveway.
I would say if we're in the talks with them to do some kind of a paving or something, that it would be required that every driveway would have to be asphalted up to the garage.
that's what I would think. That would keep you from having any rock or anything blocked out.
Yeah, you'd have.
I just find it odd that we spend this much time talking about a graveled alley when we had water running down the street there by our shop for 4 years and nobody wants to address that.
That
We
road's
just
horrible.
wanna talk
I think
about
that's a
gravel
tougher
alley.
issue to deal with.
And one more thing, the corner of Sixth and College, we replaced part of a driveway or part of a sidewalk.
Yes.
Are we gonna make the corner ADA?
No, we didn't go to the corner for that purpose. If we'd went all the way to the corner, we would have had to make it ADA. The only reason it was replaced is it got damaged when we removed a tree and then got damaged again when another tree came down. To make that ADA, we would have had to, we would need to get easements and go all the way back in their yard. And it's a way bigger project than just doing it. I would have liked to. That's what we looked at doing. I just didn't think that we could do it without major engineering and all of that. That's the only reason we just put it back as it was.
I guess the part I understand what you're saying, but none of those other sidewalks around there or corners are ADA. So what are you really accomplishing by having one corner out of 4 of them that's ADA? You can't go nowhere once they get to that point.
Because hopefully, I mean, these sidewalks are 50, 60 years, maybe even older than that. Hopefully, as we upgrade the streets, we would upgrade the sidewalks.
Yeah, that was the reason. The other reason why is because when that street gets upgraded, those sidewalks would get brought into ADA compliance, and anything we did at this point would likely get tore out anyway. That was another deciding factor in that. On 4th and College, those sidewalks in that intersection are all getting put back with curb cuts, the ADA domes, and everything will be ADA compliant at that 4th and College. And then 5th and College will put some work into too when that gets put back.
How far are we going with College?
The water main is getting done up to 5th, and that's actually complete. They're still hooking up services. They pressure tested, did bacterials, and everything's good there. Then they're putting in sewer main up to about 200 foot up the street. And that'll be the end of the work there until we get to the next, we'll call it the first phase of the water main replacements, which would come from bonding or wherever those funds come from as part of that bigger east side project that we've talked about.
So we put a sidewalk in that we're gonna tear out in a year.
Well, it might not be a year, but yet we had to put it back because it's a homeowner sidewalk that we damaged.
You have to have a sidewalk there. You can't just leave it gravel.
I don't think
For a
you
year.
understand, Jody, what it would take to make that ADA. You're cutting that hill way back. There's probably retaining walls involved. I mean, it's a lot. That's a steep hill. That's a lot. It's a lot. For us to have to take on that expense because we broke a sidewalk, taking a
Yeah.
Okay, but then we should have just waited a year.
Would you been happy if somebody tore your sidewalk up in front of your house?
I don't
And
have a
said-
sidewalk, so
well-
I don't have to worry about
So you can't even relate, huh?
it. No,
Okay. That's pretty close-minded. You can't even relate.
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn anyway.
not if you can talk to the homeowner and explain.
Is that a motion to adjourn? And Nick, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.